grade science. I'm Miss Harrington. I will be going back with our body systems with you today. Just before we get started, remember that we have some live questions you can answer as the presentation is going. So if you want to use your own device or use a computer, you can go to slido.com and it's going to ask you for a code. The code is 5106. Now the trick is you have to wait until I pull the question up on the screen. Until then, your screen is going to say that no poll is available, and that's okay. Just leave it there, because once the question shows up on the board, it will show up on your screen as well. So you just have to be patient with it. But this code will be at the top of my slide the whole time, and once we get to the question, it'll pull up the website again for you to see. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we left off with your digestive system last week. So we're going to pick up with the excretory system. And we have a few questions or a few statements here. So what we've been doing the last 3 weeks is we look at a statement and we think about whether we agree or disagree with it before we learn the content. And then we come back to those statements to see if we change our answer. So this one says several body systems work together to eliminate waste. So think about, do you think we have a lot of body systems that work together to do that? Or do we not have a lot of body systems that work together? Is it just one? So the second one is blood contains waste products that must be removed from the body. So think about whether you think blood gets rid of waste products in the body. And we'll come back to these to see if you keep the same answer. Okay. So functions of the excretory system, we've been going through functions of the systems before we get into it. And our main function here is to eliminate waste from the body. So the specific definition is it collects and eliminates waste from the body and regulates the level of fluids in the body. And that's important because we want to stay hydrated, but we also want to get rid of the things that we don't need or things that could make us sick. Okay? So it goes through collection first, and then we go through elimination. So if you think about in your house, you probably have more than one trash can in your house. You probably have an air conditioner filter, coffee filters. There's a lot of different ways that things are filtered in your house or collected and then filtered. So that's all fine and dandy. You have trash cans where trash goes, but think about what happens when that trash can gets full, or the air filter is dirtied up, or the filter in the dryer machine has lint all over it. You've got to eliminate that stuff so that way everything still functions correctly, and if you don't take the trash out, things get kind of stinky too. So it's one of those things the excretory system is very similar to because it collects things in the body, but it also eliminates what doesn't need to stay in the body. Okay. Also, it regulates the liquids in the body. So as you know, we have to have water to function. A lot of our body is made of water. So if we lose a lot of that water, we're not going to be able to function correctly. We'll get dehydrated. So water is essential, and some of the water in your body is lost when it's eliminated. So what the excretory system does is it finds ways to collect water that needs to stay in the body, but get rid of some that does not need to stay. Okay, now we have several body systems that work in the excretory system. First, we have the digestive system. Remember we talked about last week where it collects and removes undigested solids from the body. And then we have our urinary system, which basically gets rid of liquids from the body. Okay, so it transports, collects, and can get rid of liquids from the body. Also, the respiratory system collects carbon dioxide and water vapor to remove from the body. Remember, we breathe in oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. So that's another way of eliminating something. And the integumentary system also gets rid of water, salts from the body through sweating. All right, this brings up our first question. Remember, I told you once the question is on the board, it will be on your screen. Again, slido.com. The code is 5106. Your question is, what does the excretory system do? We've got one answer in. Let's see how many more we can get. Okay, so far we have 100% answers saying that the excretory system eliminates substances from the body. That is absolutely correct. We're getting some more answers in. It looks like everyone is agreeing, and that is awesome because that is what our excretory system does. All right, now that we've talked about the functions, let's talk about the organs in your excretory system. So the urinary system stores and removes liquids from your body, and it maintains homeostasis for your body, so keeping our body stable. And remember, there's a lot of different ways our body has to remain stable, and this is one of them. So the organs in the system are 2 kidneys, 2 ureters, your bladder, and your urethra. So that's pretty much it. That's your urinary system right there. And these organs work together to basically process, transport, and collect, excrete liquids in the body such as waste that we don't need anymore. Most of the functions in the urinary system happen in your kidneys. Okay, so your kidneys are like a bean shape, and so they're basically a dark red color because their main thing is they filter your blood, and because of all the blood that goes through your kidneys, that's why they're pretty much that color. So they're bean shaped, and they filter and remove waste from your blood, and that's really important because you don't want toxins going throughout your body. Each kidney is about the size of your fist. So if you want to hold your fist up, that's how big one of your kidneys is. And remember, you have 2 of them. And they are basically, they have several functions, but we're only going to focus on the urinary system. Okay, so the role is the kidneys contain blood vessels and nephrons. And these nephrons are networks of capillaries that have small tubes, and they work in the filtration process. So they actually filter your blood through. And what they do is they collect what needs to stay in the body but get rid of things that do not. So waste products like salts, sometimes toxins from cells that need to be removed. Also, blood passes through your kidneys and they filter different things like fluids as well. So basically, urine is going to be the waste product of your urinary system. But the key thing is there are 2 types of filtrations when it comes to your kidneys filtrating. So first, your kidneys are going to get rid of about 180 liters of plasma. And the liquid part is what we're talking about of your blood. So it's going to filter the liquid part of your blood. And so that means your kidneys are going to filter the entire blood supply about 60 times each day. That's a lot. The first filtration occurs in your nephrons. And these groups of capillaries filter water, sugars, salts, and waste out of your blood. But then we have a second filtration, which is really important because you're losing a lot of blood through the first filtration. You're also losing a lot of liquid, but you don't need to lose all that liquid. You need your body to stay hydrated and working properly. So what happens is the first filtration gets rid of the bigger products that it knows for sure you don't need, and then it's filtered again to make sure that your liquids are reabsorbed, and whatever is not needed from the second filtration will be sent out of the body. And I have a small little demonstration to show you that. So I have basically 2 filtrations here. Each cup represents a filtration. We're going to start with 1 cup. And what I have here is chalk, so basically whiteboard chalk, mashed up with water. And I put blue food coloring just so y'all could see the end product of what's going to happen here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this solution onto the filter of the cup, and it's going to filter through the liquids that need to be reabsorbed in the body, but it's going to keep on top the waste products that need to be eliminated from the body. Okay, so this can get messy, so I'm going to pour kind of slowly here. Okay, and as you can see, we have blue liquid dripping through. Let's see if I can speed this up a little. So what we have filtering through is going to be what we would call the liquids your body needs to reabsorb, so waters especially. Now, if you notice what's left on top, It's a milky substance. There's a few pieces of solid chalk there. Those are the things that your body will eliminate through that first filtration. And then what happens after the first filtration, the stuff on the filter is eliminated. And then what's left from the first filtration is reabsorbed in the body. But the second filtration is going to make sure that all of the things that don't need to stay in your body get filtered out. So that's why we're going to pour it a second time. Ooh, notice how fast that one's going. We filtered out a lot of the bad things. Okay, and so if you notice, we filtered again. This time we're not going to have as much chalk solution left because it was filtered out the first time. However, we do have a little bit left. That's going to represent some more things in your body that needs to be eliminated. And it's actually very, very little liquid left. It's basically just a blue color now. So your body got rid of what it needed to get rid of, and it reabsorbed the liquids that your body needs to survive. Filtered them one more time just to make sure that everything got eliminated. Okay, so that's your filtration system for your kidneys. You also have your ureters, which attach to your kidneys and lead down to your bladder. So when garbage piles up in a trash can, it must be emptied. So in a similar way, the urine produced by your body cannot stay in the kidneys. It leaves each kidney going through the tube called the ureter. So each of your kidneys has one, which is why you have two kidneys and then two ureters. And both of them drain into your bladder. And the bladder is a muscular sac. Now remember I said muscular, so when we talked about the muscular system, we talked about three different types of muscles. First, we had cardiac, which is our heart, skeletal, which are the bones and muscles working together, but then we have smooth muscle, and we talked about this with our digestive system too, how it must be, these muscles contract and expand in order to move things through the body. Well, your bladder sometimes needs to be able to expand because you don't want to have to use the bathroom every 5 seconds. So it's good for your bladder to be able to store urine. So if it needs to expand, to hold it a little longer for you, it will. And then it will also contract back down once you've released urine. So urine leaves the bladder through the tube called the urethra. So kidneys filter, ureters take the urine to the bladder, and the bladder gets rid of that urine through the urethra. Okay, we have another question now. So if you're at slido.com, 5106, this is our question. What organ system does not make up the excretory system? Ooh, we got some quick answers this time. So we talked about the different systems that basically eliminate things in the body. And our digestive system gets rid of solid waste. Our integumentary system sweats to get rid of salts and waters. Skeletal system, however, does not eliminate anything. So good. All right, what is the function of the urinary system? Okay, so again, slido.com, 5106. We have some smart people answering these. Y'all are doing awesome. Stores and removes waste from the body. Great. Okay, the ureters, bladder, and urethra work together. Is that true or false? We're getting faster and faster. That's impressive. Good job, y'all. And that is true. The ureters, the bladder, and the urethra do work together. Okay, just a few urinary disorders to talk about. We've talked about functions, organs, and then disorders and healthy parts of each system we've talked about so far. So a urinary disorder is an illness that affects one or more organs in your urinary system. Some urinary disorders are described in what we're going to talk about in just a second. Several of these disorders are pretty common. And a lot of these can lead to doctor visits if this happens. Kidney disease is when the nephrons are damaged and the ability of the kidneys to filter isn't happening the way it should, so it's not filtering enough or not filtering properly, and that can lead to diabetes, high blood pressure, also poisons in the body, and trauma. Okay, then you have your urinary tract infection, which is more of one of the common ones. This is when you have bacteria in your urinary system, so it usually starts in the bladder or the urethra, but it can travel up to the kidneys and ureters, which is not a good thing if that happens. You might have burning urination or small and frequent urination and blood in your urine. Kidney stones, you've probably heard of these before. This is calcium buildup in the kidneys, and it literally makes like a calcium stone. So kidney stones are solid substances in the form of stones. The most common types, this is one of the most common types of disorders, and stones that pass through the urinary system can be very painful. Yes, it's possible to have a procedure to break them up. However, most of the time, if you have experienced this, you are told that you just have to pass it, which is extremely painful from what I hear. Bladder control problems. Urinary tract infections can cause muscle weakness, and so this can cause you to release urine without wanting to, so unconsciously or involuntarily releasing urine. All right, here's a question for you. Which urinary disorder results from bacteria in the urinary system? So again, it's slido.com, 5106 is the code. Okay, which urinary disorder results from bacteria in the urinary system? All right, I have a few answers in. Our correct answer is urinary tract infection. That is when the bacteria is in the urinary system. All right, maintaining homeostasis. We've talked about this several times now. You have read about this with all your different systems. I've told you about it, but it's also maintained in the removal of waste from the digestive system. Waste would damage your body. It can cause very toxic things to happen to your body. The excretory system interacts with the nervous system. The hypothalamus is an area in your brain that helps to maintain homeostasis. So one of the functions of the hypothalamus is to control the secretion of your hormones. So one hormone causes the tubules of the kidneys to absorb more water from the blood, and this helps keep your body control the fluid levels, and water is kept in the blood instead of being excreted through your urine. All right, let's go back to our statements from before. So our first one, we said several human body systems work together to eliminate waste. So think about what you said before. Did you agree or disagree? And do you change your answer now? So we talked about digestive system, integumentary system, the urinary system. We talked about several different systems that get rid of waste in your body. So yes, you do have several human body systems working together to do that. And then blood contains waste products that must be removed from the body. Did you agree or disagree? Think about how we do have waste products in our blood, and we do have to have our kidneys to help filter those out. So yes, you should agree with that as well. Okay, that does cover our urinary system, but since we have a little bit of time, I can go ahead and get into our respiratory system just briefly, and then we'll pick up here next week. We will stay with slido.com, so if you want to just keep your device ready, we might get to some questions. We'll see. Okay, let's think about if we agree or disagree. Breathing and respiration are the same. Think about whether you agree or disagree with that. Lungs are the only parts of the body that use oxygen. So think about those things, and we'll come back next week to see what you think. All right, functions of the respiratory system. Basically, breathing is the main function. It's the movement of air into and out of your lungs. This is how your body takes in oxygen and gets rid of carbon dioxide. So, first function we'll talk about is taking in oxygen. So, think about plumbing pipes and how they bring water into your house. And then the respiratory system is similar because in this system, organs that bring in oxygen into your body, and we have to have oxygen to live. Oxygen is important for life. In fact, your brain will not tell your body to breathe, will tell your body to breathe, hopefully, even if you're not trying to breathe. That's called, remember, involuntary. And your brain responds when your body needs oxygen. So if your body is needing it, your brain is going to tell your body to get it rather than you having to tell your brain that you need it. Okay, so why is oxygen so important? Every cell in your body needs oxygen in order to do cellular respiration, which is something that we have learned this year. So see, we're going back to things, we're building upon things we've learned. Cellular respiration is that series of chemical reactions that basically takes in oxygen, and it needs sugars to react as well. And this is what releases energy into your cells so your body can use that. Okay, elimination is the second part of this, and that's getting rid of carbon dioxide. The plumbing pipes also remove wastewater in your house, which is a good thing, because if it didn't, things would not smell very well. In a similar way, your respiratory system removes waste from your body as well. Carbon dioxide is one of those waste gas that it gets rid of from your respiratory system. And if you keep it, your body can't function properly. Let's give this question a try. Which is not a function of the respiratory system? Is it movement, eliminating carbon dioxide, or taking in oxygen? So which is not a function? Looks like we're getting it correct. Awesome job. Movement is not a function. However, eliminating carbon dioxide and taking in oxygen is. All right, we're going to actually stop there today, and we'll get into the organs of the respiratory system and finish that out next week. And I will have a cool little demonstration for you to show you how your lungs work. And just don't forget to tune in at 9:30 next week with me, and we'll move on. Don't forget your teachers love you and miss you. Stay well and have a great rest of your week.